and I'll take your pain, baby. I'll wear it out like a raider in the dark. I'll be coming to light your spark. No need to hide, baby. No need to doubt. When you face a closing door, I'll be showing you so much more. When you need it, know that I'll be around, not leaving. When you need it, when you need it, when you need it.
So tonight we have a very special guest reminding us that God can take anything and turn your waste to wonder, as her logo is saying, or he can take your trash and turn it into treasure. Welcome to tonight's episode of Keeping It Real with myself, Lizel Davids. And tonight I have with me also another Lizel Naude, all the way from Paarl. And Lizel, you're going to tell us a little bit more about yourself before we go into the reason why you are here tonight. Yes. So welcome.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you so much. Thanks for this opportunity. I'm always eager to share my story because it's a story of, and I'm hoping that it will touch somebody that listens out there. So, as you mentioned, I'm from Paarl, born and bred. I'm a wife. I'm a mother of two girls. My husband and I actually have been married for nearly 20 years. On the 1st of December, it'll be 20 years. And thank you. Our eldest daughter is Chelsea. She's 15. And our youngest is Kirsten, and she's 13.
Yeah.
And we are basically based in between Paarl and Stellenbosch. We live in Klapmuts, but our lives basically happen in Paarl, where most of our family are based.
Of course. And of course, you are a mother of girls in the middle of teenage years. And as a mom myself of two boys, I know, also teenagers, I know that we have to wear so many caps and so many hats and keep so many balls in the air. How do you experience life now versus maybe when they were younger or previously, I would say, with being teenagers, the challenges that comes with it,
Yeah, I think, Lizel, each season brings their own its own challenges. So if I compare to them being younger, you as a young mother, you also struggle to keep things afloat, with them not sleeping well and them being sick and, all those kind of challenges. But then now this season is totally different because now, like you said, it's more hormonal.
Yes.
And my husband always, jokes because he's the only man in the house. Yeah. So it's three ladies in the house, and their bodies are changing, and they've got moods sometimes. Yes. But mostly they are fine. But I remember a long time ago, an older woman that I know gave me advice, and she basically, in a nutshell, said, "Listen, Lizel, learn to enjoy every season because those seasons go past so quickly. Because right now, I actually miss the time when they were smaller, when you could still cuddle with them in bed, and now they're in a different season, and they're moving into another season, as the years go by. So I'm trying to just get those moments where I pause, because as an entrepreneur, as a wife, you're so busy during the day, and you just sometimes you miss those moments if you're not 100% aware and in the present moment. So I just want to get that right. I don't always get it right, but I really try to get it right.
No, that's the amazing part, is that as long as we're trying, and thank you for reminding me about the fact that we need to enjoy, become mindful and enjoy these little moments as they pass by. Like, I can't believe I have a matriculant. He's going to be out of school. That's a new season starting for us, but that's us. But nevertheless, I want to talk about that beautiful artwork that's behind you. The name Lily Lumpa, all of the beautiful things. Please explain to people who haven't seen your page or your work yet, what is Lily Lumpa all about?
Okay, so firstly, Lily Lumpa, I'll just explain to you the reasoning behind the name. So Lily was my nickname when I was a young child, because my cousins, struggle to say my name, so they just call me Lily.
Yes.
And Loompa comes from the Oompa Loompa character from Charlie and the
From
Chocolate
Charlie the
Factory.
Chocolate Factory. Yes.
So I realized I was a creative when I was around about in my teenage years. So years later, when I started this business, I wanted to find a name with meaning, and I wanted to find a creative name. So Lily Loompa is actually older than it is, officially, because it initially started as a jewelry business in 2004.
Yes.
So I always knew when I got the name that this name will have longevity in different forms. So initially it was a jewelry company, and now we're an upcycling company.
Yes.
So what we do is we collect waste from the neighborhoods, from the bins, from the construction sites, from companies, from wine farms, and then we take that waste and we recreate it into usable homeware. So as you mentioned, some of the things behind me, like this is a planter made with the neck of a wine bottle.
Wow.
Excuse me. And then this African art is also made with waste. I don't know how deep you want me to go, but I just wanted to quickly tell you about how I got here. So my family and I went through a lot of financial challenges
Yes.
between 2006 and 2016. So for a whole decade, we had financial loss after the other. It was just crazy. It happened about 4 times, let's call it seasons, 4 seasons of just loss after loss, challenge after challenge. So it was a very difficult time, and it felt never ending. But I've always been a creative, but with those challenges, we had to move around a lot, physically move home a lot of times, because we lost our homes, we lost all our assets and things. So we were sort of wandering for a long time. And during those times, whenever we moved into a new space, whether it was for a week, whether it was for 2 weeks, whether it was for 2 years, I just wanted to make our space as homey as possible so that everybody could just settle, myself included. I wanted the kids to be settled. I wanted me to be settled, even just for that little bit of time. But I never had the budget to actually buy new furniture, renovate the place, whatever. So I would always look to the backyard. I would always look to the inside of the cupboards, what was available for me to maybe make a lamp, make a table, whatever. And so without me knowing, I was actually honing my skill for this business today, because God was literally preparing me for where I am today and how I needed to think. So that's where my slogan comes from: use what you have. So I always look to what was available at the time, and then I would use that to actually make something. And that's more or less, in a nutshell, how the idea came about. But in 2014 specifically, I remember we were living in West Dean, and the house where we lived, we were burgled 5 times that year. Our car was stolen right outside on our pavement, and it just became crazy. It became so crazy that the insurance companies didn't want to cover us anymore, because we were claiming too many times. So long story short, I specifically remember one day at this home in West Dean where I just, out of desperation, just cried out to God. I fell on my knees and I said, Lord, what can I do? Can you give me an idea? And when I opened my eyes, I saw the lake and I saw this rubble heap. And he said, you've been doing it now for a while. Use that to get yourself literally and figuratively out of the mess. So that's what I've been doing since 2014. And initially, I didn't think it was going to be a business, because it was just me doing little DIYs around the home.
Yes.
But just through a process of God taking me through a process organically, in 2016, I met the lady and she said to me, listen, 2015, she said, listen, focus on one thing, because I'm also a qualified interior decorator. So I was sort of doing that on the side also for income. But then she said, listen, focus on one. And I felt torn. I wanted to do both. But she said, for this season, once again, focus on one thing, perfect it, And then when you feel that business is doing well, then you can always go back to interiors. So yeah, so in 2015 I sort of started this, and in 2016 I officially started trading, and in 2018 I registered the business.
Yeah, that's an amazing story, Liesel. I cannot but congratulate you and like salute you for carrying on and for not giving up and for listening to the voice of God, because had you not listened, you might, who knows where you would have been. But
Yeah, exactly.
but such an amazing story, and I love it. I love your products. I love everything about this whole story. I mean, what is your most popular? I know what I like. I like that the one of you made one of those laptop like
That
tables,
is.
left desk. I love it, and the fact that you can fold it up and you can hang it as a piece of art, it's just amazing. But what is your most popular product at the moment, if you could say one of your items?
Yeah, so that is our most popular
Is
product,
it?
because I believe it is a product in season. As you can hear, season is the word of today. It's a product in season, because most people have this hybrid model of a few days a week they are at working from home, and in the other days they are at the office. And many of us don't have the luxury of having a dedicated space where you can actually work and focus. So once again, God has been faithful. This is my lockdown idea, and it all happened so organically, because I never thought that this will be a product line. But just in lockdown, I made an artwork for my home, and it's basically, if you can look at this, it's basically the bigger version of this frame, and it's sort of this big. And I posted a picture of myself on Facebook, not even thinking anything of it. And then all of a sudden, my social media went crazy.
Wow.
People like, and in lockdown, I had to be creative, and I started producing the products. So basically, if you can imagine, there would be a negative inside.
Yes.
And so I used to sell it as a set, but then most people wanted the frame. The frame became the popular product. And
Okay.
then I was left with all these boards, and I didn't know what to do with the
Do
boards.
with
And
it.
then one day I was sitting with a board on my lap, and I just saw how beautiful it fits around my body. And that's when I started with the development of the lap disc. So I launched the lap disc in November 2020, so it's exactly 2 years ago.
Wow.
And it's just been amazing. But I didn't stop there, because I had another goal for this year, where I wanted to, or my goal is to produce the lap disc in recycled plastic. And I can testify of how God is just faithful in terms of just you writing down your goals and being goal driven. Because in earlier this year, there was a competition that came available, and I basically pitched the idea where I said I want to give plastic a monetary value and clean up my neighborhood and use the actual plastic and start making product with it. So I'm happy to say
Sure.
that we have reached our goal. Yesterday, I put together my first plastic lab disc,
Wow. Yeah.
and it's beautiful. I have it right here.
Yes, I want
I
to
don't know if
see
it's gonna fit on the.
on the frame, but we'll try and see.
I don't know. So
Oh my goodness, Lizl.
yeah,
So awesome. That is
so I'm
amazing.
just gonna flip it.
Yes.
So those are the legs. It's a bit difficult. I'll send you a picture, and then you can maybe add it into
Yes.
the
We'll put
um.
it into the program so
But
people
but
can
this is
see. Yes, it's
but
beautiful.
yeah. But if you can look closely, you can see all the pieces of plastic and toothpaste tubes
Oh
and
my
plastic
goodness.
wrappers. And even if you
That's
go closer, you can see the layers of plastic.
of different
And
places.
this product will literally last. Yeah, it will literally last you a lifetime, because if you know and have researched, plastic is actually indestructible. It cannot be destroyed, and that's the the bad side of the whole thing, you know. So in our case, it's not going anywhere. So we just have this goal of saying, okay, let's use this waste material that is available, and let's make products that people can actually first of all become aware of what can I do to lessen plastic waste and
Environment.
waste in general. Yes, because waste is actually a commodity. It's a valuable resource, and it can be used to get communities out of poverty and income opportunities. So that's what our goal is with our business.
Wow.
We have a big goal, but we want to use waste because waste is an answer for my family, and I believe it can be for many others.
But I cannot but actually look at it in a vein of, I always like to bring it back to the word of God, like every scenario. And for me, it's typical how God takes, for me, it reminds me of how God can take any person, no matter what your background is, no matter what you're going through, and transform you. If you make that decision, transform you into a beautiful piece of artwork. So it's just amazing for me to hear your story, because it's so similar to what God. It's just, I think it's amazing, and I mean, out of the hand of God. But now you mentioned the word upcycling as well, and recycling. What is the difference? Please tell us, the ones who don't know, like, what is the difference between the two?
For instance, let me give you an example. So if you take a wine bottle, like this is now obviously this is a platter. It
Okay.
has been upcycled, but before it was upcycled, it was a bottle.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was a bottle. So recycling would say, let's chuck the bottle in the glass recycling unit, and then it will go back to the plant, and it will be crushed, and it will come back as a bottle.
As a bottle again.
Yeah, but upcycling, we say with upcycling you manipulate the item with a process, whether you cut it, whether you melt it, or whatever, and then you make something that can be reused in another form. So now, for me, I have a saying: the second life is more significant than the first life. And that is also very spiritual, because God has taken all of us from our old lives, and He reimagined us into a new life. We are new creations. So this is now a new creation. And now it's got a purpose, and the purpose will actually last longer than the first purpose. So this is a spoon rest, so you can keep it next to your stove. You rest your spoon while you're cooking. Easy to collect. And then we have a little snack holder, also made with upcycled wood, and we cut snacks or nuts, or whenever when you have people over. And then we have a little a salt and pepper shaker. So this is the neck of the wine bottles, and you basically unscrew the cap, you fill it with salt, and then you screw it back on,
and
then you use it on your table. And we've got a little wooden tray, and now obviously we are also doing it in plastic. So we also have a little plastic tray now. So that's going to be part of our new plastic range. And just one of my other favorites, this is one of my first products. It's called the tuna can. So it's a tuna can that you can use on your desk for jewelry or for stationery. And we can do any kind of little sign. We can do animals. We can say, you do a logo, and it can flat pack. So this is perfect for the tourists visiting South Africa. It goes into their backpack. Yeah, it doesn't weigh a lot. And then I obviously don't have all my products here, but this is one of the newer ones. So this is a steering wheel disc. Also in the shape of Africa. So these arms, if you can imagine the steering wheel in front of you, it clips on the steering wheel. And then when you're in the car, if you have a Zoom meeting, you can put out your...
How do you come up with these amazing ideas, Lizl? That is so cool.
Thank you. Well, the steering wheel disc is not my idea, but I've made it personal with the only African shaped. Yeah. So
That's
so
amazing.
it's not a new idea, but I always try to make it my own.
I
Yeah.
think I think I have a long Christmas list now that I need to order from you. I have to slip it into my husband's like diary or somewhere. But tell me, where can people get hold of you? Because now we've shown them all these beautiful products. Where do they get hold of your business, of your company and your products, please?
Okay. So we have an online store, lilyloomtop.com. So that's double L. And then we have a little, we have some shops, some products available on the shelves at Paul Nursery,
Wow.
next to Valdevie's new gate. And then we also have a space in Stellenbosch at
Nogals
Co-Create Hub.
Waldevie, né? Nogals Waldevie, not just anyone. Yes. Awesome.
And there's a few retailers, around the country. But the main place to find us and the most convenient is online because we ship anywhere in South Africa. And most of our products are small enough, and the lab desk it's flat, so it's easy to flat pack and put it in a box and send it. So yeah, but the whole idea is with your purchase, you are making a change.
Yeah.
Many of us want to live more sustainable. We want to live more green, but we don't always know how.
Yeah.
So by purchasing our products, we make it easy for you to say, listen, I'm doing my part. This product used to be on the landfill. Now I'm reusing it in my home, or I'm giving it as a gift to somebody, because it's all about creating awareness, and educating people about the possibilities, because I do believe this is not the end of my designs and what God has placed in me. So I'm looking forward to, to lots more in the future, especially with the plastic, because that's a totally different and a new world that has opened to me now. So I'm very, very excited about that.
That is so awesome, Liesel. And then, of course, talking about environment and being aware of everything and becoming like going green and being savvy. How do you think South Africa compares to the rest of the world? Is there enough awareness? Do you think there's enough awareness for us to, for people to become, more green, if I can call it that?
I think we have come a long way. Pre-COVID, South Africans were not interested at all. They used to shun my products. So before COVID, my main target market was the tourists, the European specifically, the German, maybe the American as well, but the Germans were my top clients. And then COVID happened, and let me tell you the story quickly. In end of November, a film crew came to record my story, and then it happened so that two productions aired, one in Feb and one in March 2020. So it was CakeNet that featured Aquila on in Feb, and in March, Beautiful News Mercedes Benz. So long story short, within COVID happened, and they all needed content, so they replayed my insert over and over, and I didn't know. And then people started contacting me because everyone was at home, because they had time to scroll, and they said, listen, yeah, I saw your video on Quella, I saw your insert on Beautiful News, where can I buy the product? So all of a sudden people started waking up to upcycling and what I was doing. So that really, it pivoted the business totally. So now my primary market is the local market, and that's amazing. So I must say companies are also getting on board because they understand the responsibility that they have to us as consumers and to us as to the planet, that you can't run a business these days without having a sustainability plan in place. So a lot of corporates are looking for solutions to say, listen, we want to support a cause, we want to get on board, we don't know how. And that's why I feel I'm at the moment, I'm sort of positioning myself in terms of, I want to lobby and get partners involved, and I don't want clients as to say, I want partners, so that we say, let's work
Together.
Together we can achieve so more.
So yes, Lizl, thank you for that. So COVID did not just bring us negative, that bit of negative that it brought. I mean, a lot of us lost people, and people got sick, and the whole world were in shock. Look at what it has done to your life and to your business. Yeah, and I'm sure there's so many other stories out there. But now, besides that, tell me, was there any challenge? Is there any health hazards or any challenges that you experience, while busy, or that one should be aware of when you do work with these different wastes and stuff?
Yeah, obviously it's a dirty business. It's not all it's not glamorous at all. So I think the usual gloves and masks when you actually collect the waste. And then obviously when you do the work, there's lots of sanding and cutting involved. And in general, you just have to apply safety measures, wear
Okay.
your goggles, etc. But
Yeah.
but at the moment, the kind of waste that we work with, the glass, for instance, can be dangerous. So you need to be careful. I've had a few close calls before because sometimes I'm in such a hurry to get the product done that I don't always take care. It's very important that you do take care. And we've recently, last week, actually, we moved into our own little factory in Samondium.
Nice.
A lot of our work we have to outsource because we don't have all the equipment yet. So, but a lot of the assembly and the finishing work is done in-house. So for the last few years, I've been doing it at my home. But my husband kicked me out and he said, "Listen, enough."
Yes,
Taking over the home.
yes,
So
yes.
I'm excited. We literally moved in last Thursday a week ago. So we're busy slowly but surely setting up. Most of the things are still in boxes, but I can do basic things. Um, yeah, so just basic
Yeah.
safety precaution that you have to take here.
That's awesome, man. But now, please do take care. I know you're not scared to get your hands dirty. But also, there's one more thing I want. The product is obviously proudly, I see on all your product, it says proudly South African. What is the process just for somebody who is also producing stuff? And how do you become part of the proudly South African brand? What is the criteria?
So you have to apply, and then there's obviously a vetting process to
Okay.
see that your product is up to standard, and then they give you regulations and rules. So you can't put the sticker on anything that is not up to standard. So it can't be substandard. They're very strict about the way that you package the product and all of that. But I must say, the day that I got that status was sure it was such an amazing feeling because
Okay.
just putting a sticker on your product just elevates your product to another level. It gives the buyer confidence to buy the product. So it was like a dream come true, to me, because when I learned about this campaign many years ago, I always thought, wow, that's only for those kind of brands. But for me to be
Wow.
associated with that brand,
With those kind of brands. No, definitely.
yeah.
Wow, Liesel, that is such so elevate. That's just an amazing story. You mentioned earlier that you are a mother and a wife and a mother of daughters. So one last question. What is the legacy that you as a mom wants to leave behind for them? Or what?
Yeah. So I want them to know that, they can, if they put their minds to it, they can achieve whatever God has called them to. I don't want to say they can be whatever they want to be because I don't think that is biblical. We should be what God has called us
The
to be.
purpose.
So I hope, yeah, a purpose driven, godly purpose. So I want them, I hope that I'm a role model to them. I think sometimes because this is their norm, they just know their mother as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Maybe they could take it for granted because they see this is just the norm. But we try and include them in the business. They do work for us, both of them. We pay them, and we also share the victories, and we also
Yes.
share the challenges.
The challenge.
They see the ups and the downs. They part of it. And that's what I want. I don't want them to be, grow up in a bubble where we don't tell them everything because that's not beneficial for them. I want them to grow through our challenges so that they can apply those learnings when they are adults. And we are already rearing them to also become entrepreneurs, even if they don't want to be an entrepreneur. We want to teach them the values, and the principles of being an entrepreneur. For instance, the girls are now taking part in market day at school, and they can see, what it is to actually spend money and not always make profit back, because sometimes the products don't sell for whatever reason, and then we reevaluate, we do a debriefing, and we say, okay, what can we do differently next time? Should you make a little poster that's more colorful? It's for instance, the younger one is at primary school. So primary school is a totally different market as to the high school, The primary school kids want color, they want cookies, they want muffins, cupcakes with flowers and Barbie, whatever. High school, no, we're not interested in that. We want grown up.
Yes.
Thing, but in between my work, I have to also now try and help them, and that's sometimes difficult to balance, to balance my work, and because that's also important for them. But I want them to have that, because we didn't necessarily have those kind of role models. Not everybody in our families were entrepreneurs, so there's no one that we could learn from. So we, in actual fact, we are the pioneers. Wow. We have to now open the way for them.
Yes, that is so amazing. Thank you for sharing your amazing story with us. Everything about it is so spiritual. I mean, just the mere fact that you take old stuff and create new, and it becomes better. It becomes an even better product. You're upcycling it. And I think in the same vein, God upcycles us the moment we step into our purpose, the moment we step into our purpose and into the calling that He called us for. And I mean, like in biblical time, He has changed so many people's life, Bible characters. I mean, there's David, there's Moses, there's Joseph, who, we took through various things, and they became like heroes in the Bible. And I think it's so amazing that you can be part of the modern day heroes and show us that God still exists, and He's still a miracle working God. And for anybody that is going through difficult times in this time, and a lot of us are going through difficult times, to never give up, I always like to remind people, and thank you for reminding us. But is there any last message that you want to give to anybody that's listening to you right now?
Yeah, once again, as I mentioned before, we have a tendency to compare ourselves with other people and our journeys, but you, Lizl, you have a different story and a different journey to mine. But what I want to say is, if you're in a situation now where you feel helpless, you feel, you've lost your job, or you don't have income, look to what you have around you, see what's in your hand at the moment, and see what you can do with that. That advice always works for me, even in challenges when I don't know what to do. I first sort of group myself and say, listen, what is happening around me? What do I have right now? Whether you are brilliant baker, who knows, maybe you develop a recipe that's a hit. We have an idea of what we should be, but then God shows you, that's not what I want for you. Let's see, what did I put in you? What energizes you? So use what you have is my last words.
Wow, that's so amazing. Thank you for reminding me as well, for using what you have and like moving into your purpose the moment, God, because He's given us all of a gift and definitely a purpose in life. Thank you so much once again, Liezel. It's been amazing. Thank you for reminding us that God is still the God of miracles. And I want to leave everybody tonight with 1 Peter 1, from verse 6 to 7. You can read it in your own time, but that's the lesson, or that's the verse I would like to share with everybody and take it to the next week and carry them through. Thank you, and I hope to see you soon, and many, many sales for you. I know it's festive, you're so busy right now, but for everybody, have a blessed evening, and we hope to see you on the airwaves or somewhere, Lizl. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And I'll take your pain, baby. I'll wear it out like a raider in the dark. I'll be coming to light your spark.